need to find this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here at 444 Spirit Way. Oh, turn!
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kellee Show.
Great, let's start the show.
Yay! Hi, James.
Hi, Cal. How are you?
I'm great. How are you
Pearl
doing?
says hi, too.
Hi, Pearl.
I'm going to say hello. Hi.
Pearl. Oh, look at, oh my gosh, what a beauty. Hi, beautiful girl. I hear you're busy at the park.
Yes, that's what I do now. The dog park. I get up at 6 every morning and go try to go to bed at 7 at night because I've changed my routine because of my doggie.
You know, you really have, because I call you in the morning and you're busy. It's shocking.
Go to your bed. Go to your bed. So everybody, Pearl will be here during the show, but she's been outside for a while, so she should go to sleep now. Go night-night. Go to your bed.
Well, she wants to know what the year's going to be like, James.
Yeah, she's going to listen over here, I hope.
Yeah.
So okay. How are you doing, Kelly?
I'm really good. I did something really fun this weekend. I went to see the Van Gogh Immersive. I got to experience it. You know, it only took 5 years to come to Wisconsin. Yeah. Everybody else has moved on.
I was out here in San Diego at the racetrack, yes.
It was so great. If you get an opportunity, seriously, everybody do it. It's so good. It was so much fun.
Oh, that's great. Oh, great. Good.
I loved it. Well, should we say hi to some people? Hi, Lori.
Yes,
she says, I'm so excited for the show. Thank you for all we do. Oh, you're so welcome.
And Wendy and gosh, Linda, hello.
And Ruth and
UP of MI, which is Minnesota, I guess, right?
Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Wow, Kelly, you've come a long way.
Okay, only because my little brother Theo is from there. I know.
Happy Hanukkah, everybody, as well.
Happy Hanukkah. Oh, my gosh. Hi, everybody. Hi, Lori. Hi, Dee Dee. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Marianne. Hello, Veronica. Kathy, Linda, and everybody, once again, thank you very much for tuning in here and being part of our evenings on Monday, and also for continuing to follow us. We really, really appreciate it. We do because of you guys, and it's just information that we've been through in our lives to experience with you guys and to share it and to help you share it with someone else if it makes sense for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really
we sure do. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we have quite a lot of information, I think, to go through, James.
We do. Well, why don't you start, Kelly?
I'm going to start, and then you just jump in. So today we're going to talk about the predictions of 2023. So I want to start with this, James. I had a really interesting dream this morning, and it kind of started. Starts off like this. All of a sudden, and this has never happened before, a pterodactyl appeared.
Wow.
A pterodactyl. Now, you know I'm into totems, right?
Yes.
So I said, and anybody can do this in their sleep. I said, what do you bring me? Like, what is this about? Because I'd never seen a pterodactyl, and I had not been talking to anybody about dinosaurs or anything ancient like that. But he said, I bring you ancient wisdom.
Wow, isn't that great?
And it's really going to help for this year, for 2023, because 2023 is a really interesting year that we're gonna go into now. Now, if you remember 2022, I talked about it was all about duality. I mean, listen, Earth, after all, planet Earth is about duality.
Yeah.
But it had all those twos in it where, like peace and war and love and hate and black and white and up and down. That's all duality.
Right.
Now, we're still going to face duality. And before I even go there, you remember last year when I said the first 6 months were going to be easier than the second half?
You did.
Okay. Well, this year it feels like every other month is going to be up and down. And I could actually call this year, for reference, like a bipolar year. I mean, it sounds like a funny term to use, but it's going to be a lot of emotions that come out this year that you're going to feel at times very much at peace. And then another month, you might feel like you really have a lot of work to do. So this is a really important year because in numerology, this is what we call a 7 year, a 7 in universal, a 7 year. And so sevens represent and I've talked about this for a long time, if you are here during this period of time, not just this year, but during this period of time, you wanted to be here on earth because it grows our souls 7 times more. So
Oh, is
there's
that
that.
right? Wow.
Yes. And that's why, when people will say to me, I really, this earth is so tough, but you wanted to be here. I say this all the time because it grows us so much. Our souls have such large expansion during this time. If we allow it, of course, we have to allow it. But this is a 7 year. So again, they're number 7. So what is 7 as a year? 7 symbolizes a period of change and evolution. So it also means mystical. 7s also bring independence and self-awareness. And anybody in numerology who is a 7, they often are like deeply introspective and philosophy. They have a lot of philosophy, and they always have an interest in spirituality. So the number 7 is also associated with the deeper meaning, and it has to do, it's connected with the planet Ketu. Now, I'm going to be talking about Vedic astrology, everybody, because I feel that it's very accurate for prediction. So I use Vedic astrology, and that's where the planets move as opposed to them being fixed.
Kelly, Miss Carrie just said a joke. Can I change my mind?
That's a good joke. No, you want to be here during this, So anyway, the number 7 is connected to Ketu in Vedic astrology, which is the South Node. And the South Node, or Ketu, is the shadow planet. So we're going to be looking at our shadow side a lot this year.
And would that also mean looking at your past, like your childhood? And
absolutely, James.
who you are today?
Absolutely. We're going to be looking at everything, because this year is the year where we will look at ourselves. We go really inward for ourselves. Even though this world is there's going to be some major happenings in this year, but we're still going to be looking at ourselves. Yes, you're going to be looking at your childhood. You'll be looking at your pains, your wounds. You're going to be looking at everything this year. And this year, there's so much mysticism this year. You're going to find people that you would have never imagined that are become spiritual, people that you just wouldn't have imagined, some real hard asses out there. All of a sudden they have some spiritual experience. And I feel, James, that spirit guides have been given some sort of special compensation, if you will, to help people along this year. And I think that we're going to be either seeing it or feeling it with angels. People are going to get, more opportunities to make the right choice and to do the right thing, to grow their soul, because this is such an important year. I think we're going to see this year attributes like personal attributes for people, like forgiveness. We're going to see more forgiveness this year. We're going to see more mercy this year, and we're going to see and feel more compassion. So this is kind of a theme for 2023. And 7 is called the emotional healer. And so when we have this year, just remember that this is a year where a lot of healing can be done on yourself and for others. So just the energy of the vibration of 7 year can bring a lot of healing. Now, on the negative side, we're going to be looking at addictions. So people that have had addictions, or people that have these, they have to face their demons this year. This is why I feel that our spirit guides and angels are going to be more present. They're always present, but maybe have a little more, they can help interject with our free will here. I really feel that, James.
Okay.
Does that make any sense to what I'm saying here with spirit guides?
I'm just writing stuff down.
Okay, right.
just downloading some stuff.
Oh, good. Okay, and this year also brings a lot of curiosity. 7s have a lot of curiosity, so you're going to see that. Now, here's another thing. On January 22nd, we change signs in the Chinese New Year. So it's Chinese New Year, and this year is the year of the water rabbit. So there's always an animal, and there's always an aspect that goes with it. Earth, air, and this one is water, or fire. This year is water. It's the water rabbit. So if you were born in 1927, 1939, 1951, 1963. Now remember that year. 1975, 1987, 1999, 2011, or 2023, then you would be a rabbit. But the last occurrence for a water rabbit was 1963.
Wow.
So let's think about 1963 for a minute. There was an assassination with Kennedy. That was a big year. There was a lot of civil unrest that year. So we can expect this year a lot of civil unrest. And I think as people start doing healing on themselves, they're going to, get really in touch with their anger, their rage, and really do something constructive with it. That's what I think. So also, it's so funny too, James, in 1903, we also had a water rabbit. I forgot this. And that was some of the first flights from the Wright brothers. So there's some amazing things that can happen in a water rabbit year. Okay. And it also, it brings water rabbits and rabbits actually bring peace and success.
Wow.
So the year is going to want a lot of peace. A theme for the year is going to be peace. And we're going to have to, really expand our vision of what peace can be, because it's going to be important. And I was really thinking about this, especially with that pterodactyl dream this morning.
Yeah.
And what came to me in my meditation was, here is the question, and everybody write this question down, because here's the question for 2023. Are you living your life like you will be attending Planet Earth school again?
That's good.
Are you living your life like you will be attending Planet Earth school again? And if so, what grade would you give yourself?
Oh, good one.
Because James and I talk about do your best. This is a year where you're going to get a lot of opportunities. I feel like they're going to move heaven and earth to help you with whatever has stumped you on your growth. Okay. But again, I want you to look at it, am I going to be living here again, like I'm going to come back again? When you can actually graduate. So
Kellee, I mentioned to you on the phone the other day, and thank you again for that movie Stutz, Stutz.
Great movie.
Right? Or did I tell
Great
you?
documentary. No, go ahead. Let's talk about it. It's one of my favorite documentaries, Stutz. If you
really
haven't seen
well
it, you need to see it.
And I already got the books and everything. And there was a behavioral therapist, and he talked about tools for a living life, really. And one of the things I loved what he talked about was about the maze, getting caught in the freedom of moving forward in life and being stuck in the maze. And I love that, because a lot of people get stuck in victimhood, or get stuck in the past, or don't feel loved by the people around them, or aren't seen, or whatever it might be. And so I was thinking about that, and I don't know if I told this. I'm not sure if I told this part. I think on some level, and my friend Jeff, Jeff, we're talking about this, that the soul is here to grow and expand and move, and always moving, transforming, and live. But I feel a lot of humans are stunted emotionally. That the emotions, they can't grow with the emotions. They want to control them, or they don't understand it, or they can't. And the emotions get stuck in the maze, the backwards, and the soul's trying to grow. And then there's a conflict right there, because they can't grow with it. And then during that conflict, that creates a dis-ease, disorder, imbalance, which finally will affect the physical body.
Yes.
So I think that there's something there.
Absolutely. And
past and seeing what keeps you back. What is the delusion that keeps you back, or the distraction, I like to say, that keeps people back in the past?
Yeah, I like that a lot, because this is a year that you can make huge growth. Everybody can. It's a really powerful year for that. And it's all about going inward and being honest with yourself. I mean, you have to show up for yourself. This is a year that you've got to be present for yourself and for others. And it's what you just said, James. This is a year where people are not going to listen anymore to victim consciousness.
Yeah, and really it is. If you don't grow, if you don't want to grow, I get a feeling that you're going to regret it.
Especially I feel that, again, I truly believe that the guides, angels are given some special compensation and like really take advantage of this year's energy. And the energy is about going inward, doing your work, healing, because ultimately we want to Earth to expand. We want Earth to heal. And we all have to do that by healing ourselves first. This is an opportunity for that.
Yeah, and I'm working on a meditation course in my school for next year because it's really extensive. It's really becoming such a great course. I can't wait to share it with everybody. I'm filming it in January, and it's really as I'm working on it, it's always a process and development. And it really hit me that one of the biggest themes I'm using is you must start looking at the world from the inside out, not the
That's it.
outside.
That's it. That's it. Exactly.
Not looking out there, but looking
Oh,
inside to yourself. That's your meter. That's your tool to look at the world from the inside out, not the outside. Don't look at that trying to satisfy you. You have to satisfy inside first. So look at the
absolutely.
inside out. How are you? What are you bringing to this earth in that situation or that person that you're in? That's what we got to do this year.
Yes.
Our perceptions, our perspective, very differently from the inside out. Not the
Absolutely. That's exactly what this is all about. This whole year is about that. Thank you for that.
yeah.
And this year, we're going to see a lot of social revolution. And
Well,
I'm going to explain why. Did you? Oh my God. And by the way, everybody, James and I did not talk about what we were going to talk about.
No.
There's going to be a major shift in energy patterns across the world. And that's a lot of that is going to be this up and down energy. But it doesn't matter because you still have to go inward.
And they discussed fusion and that sort of thing. I think there will be some technological inventions, if you will, or ways of doing things, and much faster ways and in different ways. And it might sound very strange, different ways of travel, which sounds interesting. But I think technology is going to change even more. And
Oh, wait till you see. I have all this.
okay,
You're absolutely right. Everything you're saying.
and I said this about last year, but it didn't. I don't think it came about, but it will this year, where boundaries of certain countries are changed.
You did say that, and that comes up this time because there'll be a lot of wars between countries.
That's what I got.
A lot of change in leaderships. Yeah, this is quite a year. I mean, I would love to say, "Oh, this is the easiest year." I just can't say that these days. It doesn't make any sense.
I've ever had in my life.
The hardest years, right? I mean, the most difficult.
The temperature has been the weirdest in my life.
That's right. Didn't you tell me recently in San Diego it was what?
It was 43 degrees in the morning because I get up every morning at 6, and about 11 o'clock it was about 70.
So, see, I'd be so thrilled if we had the 70 here. It's warm for us at 43, like today is like 19 or something ridiculous, but I know it's unbelievable. Okay, so the whole year is about people moving closer to spirituality and understanding.
Gina Hone just asked, will next year help with grief and starting life again? You have to start living. Again, here we're talking about the outside in. What are you going to do to make your grief go away?
I mean, yes, because we're telling everybody this is what you need to do. I mean, I just can't do the work for you, but this is what you need to do. Everybody needs to start really paying attention to the things that have blocked them in life. So let's talk about this first, James. So I'm going to talk about Mercury retrograde. So here's where everything kind of starts off. So this year, believe it or not, we will have had 4 Mercury retrogrades. That's a lot. Normally we have 3. Yes,
who notices anymore?
Well, exactly. I'm going to tell you why you didn't notice it so much in 2022 is because they were all in earth signs. And earth, well, although the finance was huge, right? The financial situation this year was huge. But this Mercury retrograde that's coming up, it begins on, so bizarre, it begins on December 27th. So that alone is odd because we are ending a year with Mercury retrograde, okay, which is Mercury retrograde. Think of it as you're redoing this, you're reanalyzing, you're rethinking, but we are ending a year with Mercury retrograde and then starting a year with Mercury retrograde. So we're going to bring everything from this year, we're going to bring it. Imagine like this, this car, you've got all this junk and you're carrying it into the next year. That's what we're doing with this year. And that's how the year starts. And it's kind of fascinating because on December 27th, Mercury retrogrades, and I'm talking about in Vedic astrology, everybody, that's what I practice, at 0 degrees of Capricorn. So what does that mean? 0 degrees is a critical degree, critical. It means pure energy of Capricorn. So December 27th, if you are traveling for this last week, which I will be, this is a powerful, hard, difficult traveling time. I'll say it like this. It's going to be very kind of chaotic, because on December 28th, the very next day, Mercury retrograde changes signs, James, from Capricorn into Sagittarius.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and then everything from that, every Mercury retrograde, there'll be 4 of them in 2023 also. Everyone is in a fire sign. So you will be feeling it, James. You'll know it this time. And there's going to be like a wobble for traveling this and for communications. There'll be a lot of things are going to be difficult.
There'll be a lot of, well, because of the weather as well, but delays because Mercury is Sagittarius is about travel. So delays travel.
Exactly. It's going to be, you're going to feel this Mercury retrograde like there's an urgency here, because again, it's in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about speaking the truth. It can be explosive. It's about inspiration. I will say that. It's definitely about inspiration.
My insight, but when you were talking about, you carry the junk from this year into next year, I was imagining having like a big old truck or an old car, trunk,
like a bus. Some people have a bus.
Bringing it along. I have to bring this, but then we find that Capricorn, so we find a storage place and we organize.
That's true. You would do that.
Place.
Right. I like that
one. And I just purged my house. I threw out a lot of things here.
See, you're already ahead of the game for it. Then.
Yeah, I'm actually getting, which is really strange, but I'm relieving myself of books, which is a very weird thing for me because I love my books. But you'll get some more. Don't worry.
Some more! I can't wait.
Some very classical books, and
you had some great books. I think you gave me 3 cases.
I did.
Really, all the Kelleys got them.
Yeah, all the Kelleys.
Which I love. Okay, so again, we're going to end the year with Mercury retrograde and begin the year with Mercury retrograde. It's like, oh dear. So there's some energy about that makes it a little heavy. And on January 6th, again, why does that number sound familiar, that date? We had a big thing in 2021 with January 6th. Well, this January 6th is a full moon in Gemini. Again, I'm talking Vedic astrology in Gemini, and the sun is in Sagittarius. And that brings out a lot of hidden agendas. So that's going to be an interesting full moon and interesting things that can come up from that.
Very interesting. I wrote that down.
Wrote that down. And especially has to do with foreign countries. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
I wrote down, find hidden truths about governments.
Oh, there you go.
And also CEOs, CFOs, like major companies.
Yeah.
They're going to be all revealed, like certain secrets, certain things they did with money or ways they've done things which are immoral with companies and people's finances. I think there's going to be a lot of that coming this year.
I agree with that. Absolutely. I think that.
More wars.
Well, let's get into Mars. So now we're talking about Mars is currently retrograde. And again, Vedic astrology, it's in Taurus. So when planets are retrograde, it gives us an opportunity, as we know, to reflect and to review and to reassess. Well, when Mars is in retrograde, Mars deals with energy, passion, anger, weapons, and war. So this month of January, because this very difficult retrograde of Mars in retrograde has been in retrograde since October, James, and it continues until January 14th. But the effects of this are going to run until at least March 15th. This is a very intense time period because Mars deals again with fire and weapons, and it's high energy. And then it moves actually into Gemini on May 10th. And during that period of time, and I'm not skipping over, I'm going to go each major planet. I thought that would be easier. But when we get to May, Mars crosses over 4 planets, including Jupiter, Venus, and the Sun, all in Gemini. And that brings what can be in May some pretty violent uprisings in the United States, like some mass hostility concerning injustices worldwide. So we're going to be looking at deep healing all of our old past, and the world's going to be looking at that.
Feelings.
Oh, okay. You already wrote that? Wow. So you can see January is intense. I mean, as we start with Mercury retrograde, and then we go into Mars. And now I'm going to talk about Saturn. So Saturn, his karma, its work, its health, its government, and Saturn actually moves from Capricorn after 2.5 years. 2.5 years in Capricorn. So if we talk about 2020 and the COVID virus, that was all with Saturn and Capricorn. That all had everything to do with that. And Saturn only changes every 2.5 years. Well, guess what? January 17th, it's moving into Aquarius. Now, Saturn.
That's why I'm getting new medical technology.
That's exactly, James, why you said that. Absolutely. Well, Saturn, the ancient ruler of Aquarius, is Saturn. Now, we know it as Uranus right now, the modern ruler of Aquarius, but Saturn is actually the ancient ruler. So and I said earlier, ancient wisdom. Remember me saying that? So here we go. I mean, I feel that there's going to be a whole, with Aquarius, that it's going to resist and break free from the Saturn, the ways that we have done things. I think that Capricorn really kept, things at a certain space. It was trying to hold back things. Well, Aquarians, they don't hold back. They break through things. So this is going to bring a 2.5-year period of a consciousness shift. And again, we're going to see tools that help with this. And as you just said, James, I feel that it's going to bring technology because Aquarius, Saturn and Aquarius.
To deal with the skeletal system and the blood system.
I love that. Yes. And it's going to bring humanitarian efforts. It's going to bring new opportunities, new modalities in healing. It also is going to have huge shifts and huge help and huge opportunities in mental illness.
Interesting.
And I feel that is going to be so important here.
It's interesting because I wrote down something to do with new foundations of prisons, like changing the prison systems in some way, and it has to do with mental health. That's what I wrote down.
Oh my gosh. Well, then you're right there with this. This is exactly right. Because there's going to be this year and the next 2.5 years, we're going to see a lot of change. And again, everybody, this still means everybody needs to go in and do their own work, and that's inward individually. But out in the world, we're going to see huge shifts in discoveries of ways to heal here. And then if we talk about Neptune, this is very interesting. Neptune is the dreamy planet. Well, in Vedic astrology, it enters Pisces on February 18th, and it stays until June of 2035.
Wow.
That's a long time, okay? So guess when the last time this happened, where we saw Neptune in Pisces, the last time this happened was 1858 to 1872. Civil War, social unrest, and guess what else, James? The spiritual movement.
Yeah, spiritualism.
And when Neptune enters Pisces, it also brings with it floods, hurricanes, tornadoes.
Wow.
This is.
I wrote down, it's very interesting, different ways of water moving. So it could be glaciers, it could be floods, different ways of water moving.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, it will be. It will be.
Typhoons. Different. It was funny how it came in. Different ways of water moving.
I think, and I have it in one of my notes here, during this period of time, also there was a tsunami. Mm-hmm. Remember the big tsunami that was, 2004 or something? It was hit at about this degree.
Wow.
So that you're absolutely right with that. Okay.
I think during that time also, Kellee, with that Pisces, there'll be more openings of the awareness of other life forms. We call them UFOs, and more acceptance because they're going to be forced to.
Well, I've been talking about that for I don't know how long. Good.
There are going to be a lot more of assassinations.
You'll see. I agree with that because we're going to hit a place. Well, when I get to Jupiter, we're going to talk about that because that does bring a lot of change here with this.
Okay.
But as far as Neptune entering Pisces, it's going to open up so much. Aquarius is always curious about astrology. It's about astrology. It's always curious, right? And Pisces is about spirituality. So this period of time, I think we're going to see, again, people that you would have never imagined all of a sudden taking a spiritual approach, like ever would have imagined. But somehow something happens, spirit shows them a message, and they kind of have no other choice but have to take a different path. Something happens here with everybody this year. It's quite a year. So when we get to Uranus, Uranus goes direct on January 22nd. Now, isn't this interesting? That's still the same day in Chinese New Year of the year of the water rabbit. So you can imagine Uranus, and it goes at 21 degrees, which is a really powerful degree. It goes into Aries. Now, when I say it goes direct, and we're talking about Uranus, it brings, and it's in Aries. Aries is leadership, and Uranus is surprise and change. So it's what you just said, James. I feel that we're going to have a lot of change in leadership for this whole year.
There's going to be changes in the Catholic Church, and there's going to be Supreme Court change. Something's going to happen violently in the Supreme Court. Not if going to be killed or not. And I also think, like Pelosi's husband was almost killed, there's going to be a lot more of that attempting going on. People, that's what I pick up. But definitely, I think the Catholic Church is going to change in some way. And also, I think the Roe versus Wade, the abortion question will come up, and there'll be changes made with that again.
I hope so.
I definitely believe it will be. And keep on going, Kelly.
I love this.
Change of government, like I wrote down.
And a lot of change in religion too, James, is what you just said.
Yeah.
Then when we get to Pluto, now Pluto, again, in Vedic astrology, it's in Capricorn for, I think, until next year or 2 years from now. And that brings Pluto in Capricorn, it brings financial revolution. And money and corruption and wars between countries, because Pluto is this hidden thing. And I know so many people have asked about finances here with regards to this year. I feel that it's going to be kind of rough in the next few months, and then it picks up financially. It picks up and does better maybe May, June.
I just get going along with that. I get a sense that again, that we're going to find out, however this shows itself, that financial institutions have been hiding money or spending our money in some way, like that guy that just was arrested for the Bitcoin thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to find big institutions did something with people's money and government's money. They did something with money, hidden money, and it's not right. So we're going to find out. I also think there's going to be a change in how transactions occur. I think there will be less use of paper, if you will, more cards or another way of doing it.
Saturn and Aquarius, you bet.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, that makes so much sense here.
Yeah.
And then we get to Jupiter. So Jupiter is the largest planet. We always want to look where Jupiter is and where Saturn is. Well, where all the planets are, but those two in particular, because Jupiter is in Pisces until April 21st of this year. And it stays in a sign for 1 year. At 12 years ago, on March 11th in 2011, was the worst earthquake in history in Japan. And that was when Jupiter was in Pisces. So we're still looking at some major events with Jupiter, with the world, things on Earth that can happen, because then it goes into Aries. And Aries, in Jupiter and Aries, is all about, and this is on April 22nd, it begins with new beginnings. It's a fighting spirit, unexpected events, new awakenings, aggression.
Yeah.
So, and then here's where it gets a little complicated. Approximately April 22nd to approximately the end of October of 2023. So April, May, June, July, October, there's a conjunction of Jupiter and Rahu, and those two planets are together. And that brings natural calamities, earthquakes, floods, big storms. And again, with all of these Mercury retrogrades in fire signs, it brings a lot of fire to the planet. A lot of fires are going to happen this year. This is a big year, actually. It's a huge year.
Is that June, you said?
That will be from about April 22nd until through October of 2023.
Right.
Yeah. So,
like California.
You know what, James? When I lived there, I mean, we always said that there were earthquakes in February and October. January, February, and October were like earthquake months.
Yeah, but you were at fires here all the time.
Oh, please! How many times did I evacuate? Oh, I know. Oh, I know, honey. So, let's see. So let's talk about the economy from January 17th to April 21st. So again, these first 4 months, basically here, Jupiter and Saturn are right next to each other. And that makes the economy not so well. It's not the best time for the economy at all. But I do feel that from after May, actually from about April 21st until May of 2024, so about another year, Jupiter and Saturn, the economy improves. And I think we're going to see a lot of more growth next year. Not so much this year. I don't feel that this year we're going to see that much. But now let's talk about some eclipses, because, you know, I'm all about the eclipses, and they bring so much change. The first eclipse is April 20th. So again, every other month, there seems to be something big that occurs here. April 20th, we have a solar eclipse, and it's at 6 degrees of Aries. And that brings new beginnings. It brings a lot of people that had been thinking about being a healer. It brings that up and out, because Aries has a lot of passion to it, a lot of energy. And when it's like this, they call this aspect the healers to the gods. So if you are thinking about it making big changes in your life or getting healing in your life, that eclipse, April 20th, brings a lot of healers out in the world and healing for one another and healing for yourself. So it's really important. That's a huge eclipse there. And what happens with that eclipse is Mars is the planet that rules that eclipse, because it's in Aries. And that determines so much. It makes it more potent. It makes it a lot of, it's just a very powerful eclipse. You want to talk about change with people, that will kind of just force a change onto people.
Yeah.
That will be a big one. So let's see.
Kelly's,
yes.
Kelly's in her finest moment right now. She's a Virgo. Tell information in Virgo. So she's in heaven right now. So I'm letting Kelly run with it. Not that I'm just going to remember any of this, but
I'll tell you what I'll do over the holiday, because I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. I will write it all up and we'll post it so people can, you know, it's too much. I mean, for me to,
like, my head is
right. I don't want anybody's head to explode. And skipping ahead, on October 14th, we also have another total solar eclipse. And this would be and again, in Vedic astrology, at 27 degrees of Virgo and 0 degrees of Rahu in Libra. It's very intense, that solar eclipse on October 14th. It brings attacks. It brings sudden upsets with justice. It could bring, you know, this virus. We need to talk about this virus, James. I feel that it's, you know, it's still here. It's not going anywhere, this virus.
Yeah.
And I feel that it's, I don't know, more offshoots of it, I suspect.
Well, I was picking up a different virus.
Tell me, oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, I do believe that. I also believe there's going to be major security risks on a whole different level, whether it's for hacking computers or credit cards. It's going to be big level, like banks, and it's going to be big stuff going on with risks, you know, security.
Yeah. Risks. Oh boy, I can imagine that. Gosh, well, and our north and south node, and we call it in Vedic astrology the Rahu and Ketu, they actually switch, and they switch every year and a half, and it's going from Aries and Libra into Virgo, Pisces and Virgo. So with Pisces and Virgo, you get a lot of hurricanes and tornadoes. So again, there's going to be a lot of world things that happen with regards to Earth changes.
Nancy Ross says, my hand is getting tired. I know mine too. I'm exhausted.
Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. Sorry about that. And the last thing, well, a couple of last things I want to say. Venus retrograde will go retrograde on July 23rd, and that goes until September 2nd. And it's in Leo, and that can bring back old relationships. So a lot of people ask me, when is a good time if they're going to have some work done. Not during that time, not during Venus retrograde. July 23rd to September 2nd, not a good time for that. So, and then Jupiter goes retrograde September 4th again. And that, again, brings a lot of attention to yourself, to the world, and what you want to, changes that you want to make. So the pivotal months this year coming up, I would say January would be huge. I would say March and April, very big. I'm going to say August, very big. September, October, and November. So a lot of things that can happen during those periods of times.
I just thought about something. I just thought we should have had like a little shots of like tequila or vodka every time you said something. Not like any horrendous news. Take a shot. I don't be drunk right now. Falling over.
It's an awful lot.
Just generally speaking now,
Yeah.
What is the best month for doing operations, surgeries, things like that? Like
I would say, and best time for May and June are really good. May and June are great for travel, by the way.
May through September is what I was for surgeries.
Yeah, I would probably, listen, if you're going to have a surgery, look what happened to me. You just have them when you need to have them. But a better month would be May or June would be really good.
I just want to say to everybody, you've heard a lot of this, and we heard a lot of it, and our heads are exploding. But the major part of it is really, which I'm getting, Kellee, is really forcing yourself to go inside and doing your inside work, because you can have the whole world around you falling apart, but you yourself can be okay because it's not affecting you.
And that's the whole lesson of planet Earth.
Yeah, it's true.
That's it.
It really is doing the work it came before. And I'm working on this meditation course, and it really does. The theme of it is looking at the world from the inside out. That's
perfect for this,
because it's
right.
Here. It's how you perceive. It's your perception. So a lot of it's going to fall down around you, but you're still here. You're still alive. You're still going.
Yes.
Just be aware of the observer of things going on. Doesn't mean that you're going to tumble and fall, but just observe these changes are happening. And many times push people into another way of thinking to change their paradigms. And that's why these things happen.
And don't be afraid to go inward. So many people are just so afraid of their pain or their suffering, or they're afraid that if they look at this, it's just the opposite. You really need to go inward.
It's sometimes to deal with the number one way, I've said this before, of healing is, first of all, you've got to look at it. It's got to this things that bubble to the surface to be looked at in order to be healed. You don't want to put any of that stuff down inside you, because it'll come out in ugly ways and different ways. So
yeah, it will. It will absolutely come out. People need this.
Yeah, it's true.
They need this. I know I gave a lot of information here.
You gave a lot of information. This is something that Vicky Naisner was talking about with signs. As you were speaking, Kellee, I wrote down also, after that UFO thing, there's going to be a lot of signs for people to see and be aware of if they are inside and in their cells, looking from the inside out. You'll be able to look around and see signs and know what those signs mean. Not only totems, but different types of signs. You'll immediately get what that means. So I feel.
And signs from your loved ones.
Yeah, and if you do the work, they'll help you.
Right.
You're expanding yourself to be connected with those realms that are around you. So why would we stay inside here and not outside the box?
Right. It's so true. It's so true, James. Because everybody does need to do their work. I mean, again, I feel that this year people are going to get more opportunities, and I would take the opportunities. All of a sudden you hear about a therapist, or you hear about a class you want to take, or you start to learn about, I don't know, something that gets your attention, and then that provokes you to start thinking about taking care of yourself. There'll be a lot of physical healing this year, James, too. So this is a great year to go in for dietary changes or health-related things, looking at inflammation or any of that.
A lot of medical technology changes.
Yeah.
This is a great one. This is from Joe Sunderledge. Why are so many people falling off cruise ships?
Oh, James, I hope that doesn't happen with us, huh?
In August. August, we're going to Alaska. Everyone, if you want to
That's
join us.
right. Please join us.
Yes. I don't know why. I don't know why so many people are jumping. I
I'll
don't know.
tell you, drugs, alcohol.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty slippery slope. You get up there and you're like, whoa, boom.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
And Margaret says, funny story. I thought angels were ringing a bell at my house 3 times, and I was like, wow, angels. And then I realized I hung a Christmas bell in my kitchen on the cap, and I was hitting it with my leg.
That's really funny. Oh
Um,
my gosh.
as a therapist, yes, you're looking forward to all the different, the changes in mental health.
You know what I think people are going to be looking at, James, are things like other ways of treatment. Like a lot of people have talked to me about like mushroom healing or those different types of, I don't just mean ayahuasca, but those kind of modalities, natural.
Natural
Yeah.
remedies. I think
Yeah.
when it's, change in regulations, like I said, that's going to affect that as well, because so many people are in prison for nothing. We find out for marijuana it's going to be big changes going on. I know Biden's trying to get that done, but I think there's going to be some changes that are going to be done. Who's going to win the election in 2024? Do you think? I don't know.
I don't think the two candidates currently are even going to be in the running.
I don't either.
I think we have all new people that are going to be coming in here.
Why is there so much rage and violence? Vicky Saber says.
It's a great question.
No one's worked on the inside. They look at the outside. They don't look at the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So look at the outside, and they haven't done their work. They haven't
and let's talk about generational trauma too. Generational trauma. I mean, so many people that you may not realize, but you may be the one in your family that comes to break a cycle. And so if you kind of get this feeling like, God damn it, I'm tired of the alcoholism. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. And you might get triggered. And if you get triggered, you're the one here to make the difference in people's life, which means setting boundaries with people, doing your own work with things.
And when you don't do the work, or you're not grounded enough in the work and sort of really seeing yourself as a soul, having a human experience, not the other way around, you can get caught up in the frenzy of it all. With all these planets around you, it's phonetic energy. It's a lot of phonetic, and I feel it a lot. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times I call Kellee and say, "Do you feel what I'm feeling?" Because people are crazy. Yeah. And like right here, Mary Levine said in Boston, people are driving in the buildings. Doesn't surprise me. I see a lot more mass shootings. I see a lot more. I see they really try gun control in a different way, but I don't think it works in this country.
Well, I wonder if that's why more like our spirit guides, I feel, literally are going to help us step into that place. Normally, we have free will here, and I just feel like they're going to help us more.
It was really scary. Now I'm going to share some scary work.
Okay.
Last night in the news, it was reported that this past year was a record for TSA finding guns in people's luggage, hand-carried luggage. 650,000 loaded guns.
650,000
loaded guns.
Oh, James!
And most of the people said, "Oh, I forgot it was in there," and they also come from Texas and Arizona and.
I forgot. I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot, and that was excuse, but that's pretty scary.
That's really scary. Wow, James.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot more people coming. We'll see 2 or 3 people coming out of prisons that had never done that crime, and they're innocent. And I think that's going to be freed. I also think that the lady that got out of jail from Russia, the basketball player, I think there's going to be something to that, and that I think people are going to demand that other people get political.
I've been saying that for a while with that. Yeah, I agree with you.
It's going to be a major change, and it's going to be kind of freak everybody out with the border changes. I think there's going to be something very major going on there. Because the U.S. can't bring any more people in, I guess, but I think there's going to be some changes made there as well. I think it's going to be a drastic change. I don't know what that means, but that's what I feel. I
feel there will be drastic changes this year. Actually, drastic. Yeah.
I almost feel like at the end of next year, we're going to be, wow, is like, just like we're saying now, wow, this world is so different than it was before COVID. But I feel like the end of next year, we're going to be like, wow, is it really the United States? It's gonna be like,
well, again, if we go back and we look at that time period with Neptune, we look at the Civil War. That's in 65 was that period of time we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who's got, and people are asking a lot about addicts, siblings that are addicts, and if That's where you have to set boundaries. They have to do their work. I think they'll get an opportunity to do their work. And I think that they will be confronted. I think people will be confronted this year because I don't think people are going to take stuff anymore.
Well, you mentioned, yeah, they can because of the COVID thing. People just want to get out there and just confront things. Yeah, this is very interesting that Marilyn wrote about homeless people in New York are bashing innocent people, injuring them, and bringing release back in the street. What is happening? I think that the mental health issues you're talking about, I think there'll be some new laws to mental health. I think, Reagan got rid of all the programs.
Oh, I remember in California when that happened.
God. And I think there's going to be some new things coming out for helping the homeless people.
God. Cindy Sue says, I like your name, Cindy Sue. She says, blowing my mind, Kellee. I had decided the other day to work on my childhood trauma in the new year. It's been controlling me enough. Also, shadow work keeps popping up for me. Great. I'm glad to hear that, Cindy. Good for you. Let's see. Oh, Teresa says, yes, spirit guides are present, and I find they are beginning to be more present or making themselves more known. And James, you wrote a great book on spirit guides.
Yes.
So if anybody needs some information on it, please read James's book, Spirit Guides. It's great. Hi, Renee Hounsel. How are you? Knowing the guides and angels will be very present with us this year, I have a feeling we will begin to understand what ascension is and how we each affect the whole to shift the consciousness.
Oh, that's
great comment. Yes, yes.
That oneness consciousness. I think that's going to be more present. Yeah. The oneness consciousness. Yeah.
Kim Ann asked, what do we see for Ukraine in 2023? I can tell you from Russia, I really feel that it's going to take some, Russia's going to do some more stuff. They're not backing down yet.
Isn't it funny? I see a woman involved in that whole thing. I see
really?
A leader involved in that.
Huh.
I don't know what that means, if she stops the war or she's involved in getting peace or she becomes to raise, I don't know, a woman. It's so interesting. I saw that in my head.
What
will happen to Trump? I wish I knew.
Yeah. Well, he's selling his stuff, his cards.
Armed jumpsuit, maybe? I don't know.
So wait, Amber Rossetti says, this is where it gets overwhelming and confusing. How is it possible to take into account all of the different signs, cultures, Vedic, Western, and Chinese? I like to bring it all in, Amber. That's the way my mind works. And I like to put it all together because they're all saying kind of the same thing. So I like to pull them all together. It's a puzzle for me.
Yes. I'm trying to remember the name of my book. I can't remember it. Sorry. Let me look. My guide.
I've got it right here. It's such a good book. Wait a minute. I think I have it right here. Oh no, I have it it's up here a little more. So here we go.
Wisdom from Your Guides.
Wisdom from Your Guides.
Wisdom from Your Spirit Guides. It's a very good book.
Yes, it's such a good book.
All the books are so different. Each one.
Julia Farrell says, isn't death itself a graduation? Yeah, it is, but graduate with the highest honors.
So yeah,
do your work.
Yeah, I wrote a book called Unfinished Business many years ago, and that book was about having no shouldas, wouldas, or couldas, because the number one reaction or response or communication message I got from the spirit world as a whole was, wow, if I only knew then what I know now, I would have made different choices, and they would have been out of love, not out of fear. So if you can do that in your life and be present in the moment, you should do that. And Kellee mentioned the movie the other day. We were on this, and I watched it. And it was one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, called Stutz, S-T-U-T-Z. And Jonah Hill, the actor, records a therapy appointment with his therapist, and he's okay for me, but the therapist was great. I thought he was great. Phil Stutz, S-T-U-T-Z, and he gives tools on living life.
And he works great with couples. He worked with my mom. Seriously, so I've known Phil for many years. Great, great, great therapist.
I took notes for that because it was just.
Well, he gives you tools. And anybody can watch it. If you have Netflix, just watch it, Stutz. And you might have to take it in 20-minute increments because it's a lot of information.
Yes, very. And then there's another book that he wrote. It's called The Tools Coming Alive.
Oh, James, that's great. Yeah. Great. So he teaches on occasion, he did, at Omega, where you teach.
Yes, I read that. Yes. So the tools, yeah. So anyway, it's
great.
A good TV show, documentary.
Right. So, yeah. It's great because you can just watch this, you can take notes, you can do anything and start learning about yourself.
Now that I'm done with Harry and Meghan on Netflix, did you see it yet?
I've watched the first two. No, first one. I have some more to watch.
Oh, you have 5 more episodes.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Well, I got to say, I first of all, I want to write a letter to Pierce Morgan, and I have to write a letter because I just don't like the man. He complains about Megan, and it doesn't stop complaining. It sounds like he's very jealous of her. And when you watch the documentary, you can have a very different take, I think. And I never knew something, which I don't want to ruin it for you, but the tabloids are very busy, and there's the rift between the brothers is over that they made a pact between each other when Diana died, and when William didn't fulfill it, because Meghan and Harry were getting more popular than William and Kate, and the institution didn't want that.
Oh.
So all of them have their own, all the principals have their own connections with the tabloids, and they feed them the stuff. So that's what's and you can imagine, because Harry is just like, I think he's very much like Diana.
Yeah, reminds me of her.
Yeah, and isn't it amazing, Meghan Markle, and she's a mixed race, and the colonial, the UK held the most imperialistic, one of the most imperialistic countries ever, and most of their Commonwealth made up of brown and black people, and they should be proud. And it's very interesting. So yeah, I think you'll find it fascinating. I have a different respect for them. I really do.
Oh, good. Then I'll finish watching it.
I have a different respect for them. Yeah.
Good. Wow. Well, I will look for that too. Let's see what else. Here we go.
The Firm, yes, Carly, yes. My mind totally changed with The Firm too. Yes, I totally. Yeah, I was supposed to have a reading for Diana before she passed, and it was supposed to happen in beginning of August, and that it didn't happen. She had to change her schedule. She was going traveling, which she was going to Paris. It couldn't happen. And then I was supposed to read Fergie then. Well, then the whole thing happened, and she came to me afterwards, and she said to me, I said, what did you happen with this? She goes, I was alive, but I had to make a choice, and I realized I could help my boys better from where I was here than back. So that's why she was alive in that ambulance, but then of course I think The Firm had a different backup. So
God, James.
Yeah, it's interesting. Very
interesting. I can't wait to watch it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I was thinking of just writing a letter to Harry and Meghan.
They probably love it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I brought a whole new perspective on it.
Yeah. It says, Sharon Stone says, this confirms Notre Dame's predictions. Oh, good. I did not know that.
Love Notre Dame. Yes, very much so. Yes. And a friend of mine is Rasputin, who I think I lived during that lifetime with Rasputin, the Mad Monk. And it's very interesting because I went to visit where he lived. And when I walked in, I said, oh, this is very different than when it was. This was over there. This furniture wasn't there. There's a secret door that way, and there was. And I just knew where everything was. And I was always fascinated with Rasputin, always. And very interesting that I walked with it in a store, and it was in the New Age area of books, and a book fell right off the shelf, and it was The Life and Times of Rasputin, and I still have it. And he's also come through in development circles with me.
Wow.
I didn't pick up another person in the circle. I said, oh, there's a man next to you. He has a big beard, long beard, and his eyes are intense. It looks like Rasputin. I said, yes, I understand that. So, yeah. So I think there's more and more of people realizing that, I don't want to call it New Age because it's really old age, but spiritual wisdom in this country.
Yeah, it was the ancient wisdom, spiritual wisdom. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Well, James, we've come to the end of our program tonight.
Wow.
So we want to wish everybody a happy holiday, a peaceful holiday. Put your patience on if you're traveling. I'm talking to myself.
And wear your boundary suits.
Wear your boundary suits. Absolutely.
Support you. Remember, it's all about support. They should not put you down, only put you up. They're not allowed to tear you down. Remember that, please. That's for you of the holidays. And you can just don't knee-jerk react when someone says something, but calm down, take a few deep breaths, and say, you're not allowed to say that to me. Don't accept that. And you'll teach them boundaries. So
yeah, very good.
And Kelly, happy travels.
Happy
I want to thank Renee for all his work.
Oh, I was just thinking that. Renee, thanks for everything that you do for us.
All that. And we'll keep in touch with everybody. Thank you for joining the email list. If you haven't, thank you very much. A lot of people on email list, and thank you. And
I'll be back in a couple of years. What are you doing? A couple of weeks. The next couple of weeks.
Next year, I'm doing some tours next year. I'm going to do some personal, events and or in person, I should say, and a couple of different workshops and my meditation course. And yeah, it's going to be a busy year.
And we've got something coming up in September, the end of September.
Yes, we do. That'll be the mediumship gathering, right? The mediumship conference. Yes,
in Los Angeles, everybody. That'll be great.
The best mediums in the world in one space. So that'll be happening.
It'll be so fun. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great holiday. Bye.
Bye now.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.